All right, welcome everybody to Cricut for Beginners. My name is Dana. I'm the editor of favecrafts.com, and we're here with Favecraft Studio Live. Favecrafts is a website that shares free craft tutorials from across the internet, and we have tons of specialized newsletters. They're all free. You can sign up for a crochet newsletter, for a recycled crafts newsletter, and many more. Just visit favecrafts.com if you are interested in exploring more free crafts. A few housekeeping things before we get started. We are recording this class and we will be emailing out the recording in about 24 hours. So if you want to rewatch any key moments, folks who aren't attending live are able to also watch the webinar later too. You can use the Q&A feature in Zoom to ask questions, and we'll do our best to address them in the scope of this class. It's only an hour and we're probably going to be moving fairly quickly, but we'll do our best to get to as many questions as possible. All right, thank you so much for the Cricut Handbook, the Complete Cricut Machine Handbook, for sponsoring today's class. The Cricut Authority and the Country Chic Cottage founder, Angie Holden, brings you the most comprehensive resource to help you make the most of your Cricut machine. Launched in November 2022, the Complete Cricut Machine Handbook is packed with valuable tips, techniques, and eye-catching projects, including the cards that we'll be making today. The book will quickly turn you into a certified Cricut expert. You can order your paperback or digital copy today at cricuthandbook.com. All right, and with that, I'm going to introduce Angie, who's here with us to teach Cricut today. Angie blogs at the Country Chic Cottage, where you will find crafts, Cricut tutorials, sublimation crafts, SVG files, and so much more. She loves to share her creativity with all of you. She has been blogging since 2010 and started doing it full-time in 2016 and loves every minute of it. Thank you so much, Angie, for being here with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's hopefully it'll be fun for everyone that's tuning in. I didn't know we were going to have such an international audience, so I'm kind of excited now. So like Dana said, and Dana is going to keep me on time as well. So I'm going to hold her to that. So it's just an hour. I'll try to get as much as I can. We are going to go through one of the projects in the book, and we're going to just make like some simple cards. So beginner project, easy project, and I'm trying to find it in the book. So there's the cards we're going to be making. And I am going to make these just with, I'm going to use an Explorer 3. Any Cricut machine can make cards. If you're using the Joy though, you probably want to do the card mat option, which is definitely in the book, but I'm going to start with the option that's just on a regular mat because most people get their machine. They have a regular standard mat and I want to know how to make cards. So we're just going to start with that one. And we are going to start in Design Space and we are going to design some cards today. So Dana, if you want to like share my screen here, or I have to do that, don't I?
I think it would be easier. Thank you.
I have 3 cameras going, so everyone can be very patient. Okay, share screen and share. Okay, so this is just Cricut Design Space, and when we open it up, we are going to go, you can go to, oh, I'm going to wait until it starts sharing. Is it sharing on everyone's end now?
Screen sharing. Oh, here we go. We're good.
There we go. Okay. So we can go to new project. We can click canvas. I'm going to click new and get a brand new canvas. So to start with, to make cards, I'm just going to start, and I'm going to kind of follow the book here. So I'm going to start making rectangles, right? Because we need a shape for our card. So shapes, the top ones are free. So we're going to use free shapes and we're going to make free cards. So no matter if you just got your Cricut machine, you don't want to subscribe to anything, you can make a card. And so then I'm this thing, there we go. All right. The Zoom thing is over my Design Space thing. So let's make like a 4x6 card. So I'm going to unlock it up here and I'm going to make my width 6. And to make it 4 inches, once it's folded, it would have to be double. So I'm going to make it 8. So now I have a 6x8 rectangle folded in half. It'll be a 4x6 card when we're done. And then you can come over here and we can change the color to anything you want. And this kind of helps you design as well as keep your material colors separate if we're going to make several cards. So let's just make 2 cards. So all I did was copy and paste that, and you can use your keyboard shortcuts, or you can use duplicate over here on the right. So I could just click duplicate and I can make a 3rd card. And now my cards are really large, and down here in the bottom, there's a zoom, and I can zoom out or in to get the cards how I need them to be. And then I can let's just make each of these a different color. I have a whole stack of cardstock here, so I'm just kind of winging it, and I'm going to decide on the fly what colors I'm going to make my cards. And so to fold the cards in half, you would want a score line to make it a little bit easier. So the score line, basically, it doesn't cut through. We're going to use something called a scoring stylus. And if you go to shapes, there's a line here, and it's a score line. And what this does is just going to put like kind of a bend line across the center of the card. And we're going to, first of all, rotate it. And we can rotate it up here and just put 90. And now it's rotated. And then we want to make it as wide as the card. So I'm going to make it 6. And now I have a score line. And again, I need 3, right? So 3 cards. So I'm just going to duplicate it a couple times. And we might make, and I made these rectangles 4 by 6 cards when they're folded in half. If you wanted to make them other dimensions, you could. Some typical like 3 by 5 cards are a typical card. What I always say, if you're going to make your own cards, is to you either make your own envelopes or buy envelopes and make the cards to fit those envelopes. And then I'm going to pick both of these. So I'm just like dragging a box around both the square and the score line. And I'm going to do arrange, align, and center. And now the score line is in the exact center of the card, just that easily. But I do need to do that to each one of these individually. So if I'm going to make 3 cards, I would do that 3 times. So align and center. And so now we have 3 cards, each with the score line down the center. However, we do need to do one more thing before the Cricut machine actually understands. We want the score line on that piece of paper. So I'm going to pick both once again, and down here in the lower right, there's something called attach. And what that means is I want the score line attached to that box. So I'm going to click attach. And now this is one attached piece. And when I go to cut it, the score line will be in the center of that cut rectangle. And I would need to do that again. Every one we'll need to do separately. And so now we have simple, basic cards, but we have a Cricut machine and we want to make them awesome. So we're gonna do a few different things. And this part, completely up to you how you would like to make your cards. So let's do like a Valentine's theme here. So first of all, in shapes, there's a heart. So there's a heart for free. It's up here in the free design. So we can pick heart. Somebody already missed how to add the score line. I can see in the comment section. It's in here in the shapes, and up in the upper hand left, it's score line, and you just click that to add it. All right, so I can put the heart here, and I could resize it, and I could also unlock this up here. And then when I drag it, I can make it a different kind of shape and distort it. So if I don't like the original heart, I could distort to something I like better. So let's say I like that heart shape. Now let's duplicate that a few times. So we'll head over here, we'll hit duplicate several times, and then we can just kind of resize these a little bit. Now I'm going to take that card, score line attached, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees just so I can see it better. I just like things to look the way they're going to look when I cut them out on the mat, so I can tell a little bit better what's going on. And then I can just start laying these hearts out. And maybe I want to rotate them. So maybe I don't like them being straight up and down. So if you just, from the box, you can see when I hover over the boxes on the side, so they're bounding boxes, my arrow changes to a double arrow. So the double arrow means that I would resize. If I go just a little bit further out past that box, it changed to a curved arrow. When it's a curved arrow, I can click and then move, and I can get any rotation I would like in any direction. So I don't know exactly, like a while ago, I punched my rotation up here and I said 90 degrees, but I don't know exactly what I want this heart to be at this point. So I just kind of rotated around and I like the look of that. So I'm going to go with that. And I'm just going to repeat for all of these hearts. So I'm just going to kind of resize them, pull down, and rotate them. And just do, let's just do the 4, or we could do more, we could do less, whatever. And we are starting to have a cute Valentine's Day card. All right, so we only have 4 hearts and they're on our card. And now if I pick everything, so I'm gonna pick, make sure I grab that score line. I saw someone said I'm on iPad. If you're looking at Design Space on iPad, it would be different. I'm not sure if that was the question, Dana, sorry. And then, so I'm gonna pick everything, hearts included, score line, card, box, pick them all. And now if I click attach, the hearts are cutting out of the card itself. So now I have a card and it'll have hearts cut out of the front of it. So now that's great. But once those hearts are cut out of the front of it, you're going to be able to see like the inside of the card. Like if I wrote a message to my sweetheart on the inside of this card, you'll be able to see it through the little hearts cut out. So I'm going to do one more thing to finish this card. I'm going to do shapes. I'm going to pick a rectangle. And this time I want something just to put on the back of this cutout. So again, it was 6 inches tall. So I'm going to make it just a little bit, so about a 1/4 inch less than the 6. And then I make it wide. I'm going to make it about 2.75, I think. Nope, 3.75. We were a 4x6 card. So about a 1/4 inch less on the sides. And just so you can double check yourself, you can put this over here just by moving it around. And I can see that all my hearts will be covered up by this. So that's a good size. The size doesn't matter as long as the hearts are covered up by it. And I just like to give myself a little room on the edges so I don't have to be so precise lining it up. And then I'm going to make this a different color. So I'm going to make it a red. And I can arrange that and send it to the back. So if you click arrange, so I'm just on the red square, click arrange, send to the back. And now I see my card in the front, and that will be the square in the back. So now I can tell that it's going to fit completely behind my card. So if you need it on the back to visualize that, that's how you would do that. So now we have one card done, right? Some hearts cut out of a card, perfect for Valentine's Day. What if I wanted to say, I love you instead? So I wanted the front, turning your score line, just go up here to the rotate and turn it 90 degrees. And inches to centimeters, that's a really good question. I saw that since we have an international audience. What is referred to as the hamburger menu, it's 3 lines, upper left-hand corner. Click that. And we should see a settings. And I think, yep. So go to settings, then click canvas. And then instead of imperial, click metric. So for our international friends, if you want centimeters, millimeters, what have you, click metric. So maybe that helps that question there. Okay, so maybe I wanted to say, I love you on the card instead of the hearts, right? So I want to cut I love you out of the front. I want the same card concept, but I want to say, I love you. So let's talk text. So I'm going to click text. And I am going to type in all caps, I love you. And I'm going to hit enter. So I get something that looks like this. And then I'm going to move it over this card. And first of all, let's play with fonts. So we can click this font drop down and you can literally pick any font you would like. And you can spend hours in this little drop down box looking at different fonts. I'm just going to quickly pick one that I like. But at the top, Cricut fonts are going to be those that are on the Cricut Design Space. System are going to be ones that are on your system. So they would be ones like on my computer. And then bookmarked, you can bookmark fonts. And recent would be ones you recently used. So I'm just going to scroll through and I'm going to fairly quickly pick kind of a big chunky font here. And we're going to say that one looks good. And the fonts with the A beside them, you see a little green A, those are going to be Cricut Access fonts. So if you have Cricut Access, those would be free. It did not filter out for free fonts, but you definitely could. So I'm going to click this again. If you don't have Cricut Access, you can use these filters and you can just filter for free. And that way you would find fonts that aren't going to try to charge you a fee right now. So I'll change this to a free font actually, so that we're not using something that not everyone has access to. Let's use that one. So this one's called High Tide. It's a free font. If I like the look of it, I think that looks good. I'm going to run with it. So now I can use these boxes, pull it out, resize it. You can distort it just like we did the hearts before. So if you do the unlock up here, you could distort this. It does distort the font, but you can make it something else, something you like the look of, however you want to make it. And then I'm going to call this good. So I'm going to say that looks good to me. And I'm going to pick everything again. And I'm going to click attach. So now the same thing. So when I cut this out and I write a love felt message to my sweetheart on the inside of this card, you would be able to see through these cutouts on the inside. So I'm going to do the same thing I did over here with the little box. So I'm going to draw another shape and pick a square and unlock. And again, I'm going to make it about 5.75 by 3.75. Again, it just needs to fit inside and cover all of those cuts we just made. And it looks like it does. And now let's do one more. So we're going to do one more card because you might be wondering how to write on the inside of your card with pens. So let's do that with this card here. So we'll pick some text and this time we will type something. I'm going to say love you to the moon and back. And I'm going to pull this in from the side and it will wrap the text for me. Now, when you're writing with pens in your Cricut machine, the font really matters. So let's just keep the same font. And if I was to change it to, I pull down the operation box, I'm going to pick pen. So I want to write that on the inside of this card. I'm going to pick pen. And you can see that it outlines my font. So the font itself, the pen's going to draw around it. I don't want that. I want it to look like I hand wrote this message. My handwriting's awful. I don't like my handwriting. We're going to pull down the font box again and pick these filters again. And we're going to filter for writing. And I'm actually going to leave the free filter on. So you can have more than one filter on at a time. So I'm going to do writing and free. And I'm going to look at the fonts that it filtered out. So with writing and free picked, with these fonts, I should get a single line. So let's say I like this font here. So this one's called Telegram Text. And like that. So we're going to go with that. And I do need to make, so I want to edit this text because if you can see that first L, it's not a capital letter. So I'm going to double click and then click where I want to change it, backspace, and make the L this time capital. There we go. And now I have my text and I'm just going to use my little boxes here. And resize to fit the front of this card, or the inside of this card, excuse me. And I'm going to leave enough room at the bottom where I can sign my name. So I'm just going to do it like a little bit like that. And the same thing applies here to text and pens. You're going to want to attach it. So I'm going to pick both of these and I'm going to click attach. But now the front of my card, so this is the inside, and the front of my card is going to be kind of boring, right? So it's not, I need to put something on the front. So let's just add a few more hearts here, and we're going to glue them on the front this time. So I'm just going to put them over here on my canvas just as cuts, and I'm going to duplicate that several times. And I'm going to make them all different sizes, and we can just glue them all over the front. I can grab the rest of these. All right, so now I have, and I'm going to grab these last two here. So that's pretty good. Like, I think I can make a cute design on the front of the card with those hearts. So now I need to decide on some paper colors. So I have a variety of paper just stacked over here to the side. So I'm going to leave this, I'll leave this one red because I have a red polka dot paper. And I think I like these. I would like to make those also out of the red polka dot paper. So I could change each of these hearts individually, or I can come over here to my layers panel and I can click color sync. And I can take each of these hearts and I can drag them to another color. So I could drag them to the pink, or I can keep coming down and I can drag them to the red. So if you don't want to click each heart individually and do that, we can hold the shift key down on your computer. Excuse me. I think it's control. I'm trying to figure out which button it is. Okay, it's not letting me pick. Okay, I'm just going to move. I'm going to do each one of them. I know, well, I'll tell you what I can do. What you can do is you can drag a whole color. So I'm going to do that as an example. So I'm going to pick this entire gray and I'm going to drag it to the red. And now all of my hearts change to red. Now I may or may not want this square red. Let's see. So for this first heart card, I think I'll do, yeah. I'll just leave this one at pink. And then this one can be purple, that's fine. And this card, let's say we want to make it a different pink, maybe. So let's pick all of this here. Yeah, let's say that. So So let's say I want to make this a different pink, and I really want to get an idea of like the colors I'm using here. And are they going to work for me? Do I like them? You can actually pull down this plus box here, and you can pick any pink your heart desires. So I'm going to pick a really bright pink here. So that's a good tip because I want to see, like, is this going to look good? And then I'm actually, for this square that goes on the inside of this middle card, I want to make it the same purple as this one because I think that's going to look good, and it's going to save me some paper, right? So when I pull this down, the material colors at the top are the ones that I have on my canvas already. So if I pick this purple, it does sync them together. So that's another way to sync together, is to make sure you're picking these material colors at the top. And I do not know why I have two reds. I guess we'll see when I click make it if that is true or not. Okay, so now I think I have everything. I'm going to save my project. So I'm going to click save, and I'm going to make that Valentine's cards. You can add it to a collection. If you have collections, you can create a new collection here. That just kind of helps organize your projects, but I'm just going to click save and just save it as a single project. So now we have cards designed, we have some text, we have some hearts cut out. The next step is to click make it, and we're just going to see what these look like. And I am going, your next, oh, I made a mistake. So I'm going to click back, and I can tell I made a mistake. I am using my Explore 3 machine. You always want to check in this top corner which machine you have picked and that it's the right machine that you're using. So I'm going to click Explore 3, and I'm going to click make it. So now I have some options. I can do without a mat, and this is for smart materials on Cricut machines. I can do on a mat, and that would be for paper, which we're going to cut, and that's what I'm going to pick. The card mat I'm going to talk about at the end of this video, or if we have time, we can talk a little bit more about it. Or if you have multiple ways you're going to cut something, you would do this last one. So I'm going to do on a mat, and I'm going to use the 12 by 12 mat, and I'm going to click confirm. And now what we can do is basically make sure we haven't made any mistakes. So this top one, I wanted the red. I wanted the red hearts. I wanted the square. That looks good. This one, I wanted my card out of it. This one, I wanted my card. My writing is attached. Remember, we used that attach function. Everything looks good. I wanted this other piece out of it. And finally, my last card on that last mat. So everything looks good. And I'm going to go back to the first mat. Whatever mat you have picked is the first one it's going to cut. And I'm going to click continue to cut. And now it's going to ask me to connect my machine. So now's the time to like turn your machine on, connect it wirelessly or USB. I'm using a USB just by chance. And hopefully it connects. Okay. So then you have some material options. For this, I'm going to use medium cardstock. If you have an Explore Air 2 or earlier, there's actually a dial on the machine. You can do some settings. If you want to get this screen with those machines, just turn the dial to custom. That's all you have to do. So I'm going to do medium cardstock because I find that cuts best for what I'm cutting. And I like to use the pressure. I like to leave it at default unless I find a reason that I need a different pressure, like the type of cardstock I'm using or whatever. And then I can check this box right here. Because I'm using the same material for all of these mats, I can check the remember material settings box because I won't have to pick that anymore for the rest of this project. And then it does tell me what each mat needs. So for this first mat, I just need the fine point blade. But if I'm going to come down here to this mat where I had a card, it is going to tell me I need a scoring stylus. And for this mat where I had a pen, it's going to tell me I need the scoring stylus, but I am going to need a pen here eventually. So be sure to pay attention to this area. Make sure that you have all the tools you need before you start cutting. All right, so I think, Dana, if you want to switch to the top down view, maybe we can, I'll make a first cut and then we can kind of do an intermission type of thing.
That sounds great. If you want
Have
to
to
turn
stop
off,
sharing.
yeah,
Hold on.
we're good.
Stop share. Okay. I'm gonna try to move this. I have too many things. Okay. So I'm gonna cut the red first. I'm doing this red polka dot guy here. And then I have my mat, and I like the blue mat for paper. And then we're just going to put paper on the mat and just line it up with the grid lines that are around the outside. And then my favorite tool is a brayer. So it's just like a little roller. I would say 80% of success cutting with a Cricut is making sure your material is down really well on the mat. And this makes my mat last longer because I can really push it down into the material. And now I have my Cricut, and I'm going to open that up. Move it here maybe. So for this mat, I just needed the fine point blade. If you needed the scoring stylus, it goes in this clamp here, and you would just open that clamp. This is what the scoring stylus looks like. I make sure the arrow's to the front, and we can just put this in now and leave it if we wanted to. And you just hold the clamp from the bottom and press the scoring stylus down until it clicks. Then close the clamp. That's it. And the same procedure would go for the pens. So I have a pen here. Same procedure would go for it when I'm ready to do the pens. Okay, and I am going to add my mat here, and the light's blinking. That means it's ready. So we're just going to load that. And once it loads up, the next light will start blinking. So the go light will start blinking, and then we can just press go. And this is going to cut. So if you want to, Dana, you want to do intermission while this sheet's cutting, and then we'll talk about the rest of them.
That sounds great. We'll get all set up. So yeah, folks, if anybody needs to stretch or run to the restroom really quickly, I'm going to be talking about our upcoming classes and then a special offer from our digital magazines that we like to offer to everybody who attends our virtual events. So let me pull up our slideshow. Right now, we have one upcoming class that is all set up at Eventbrite. It's Learn to Crochet a Beginner's Shawl, and this is a rebroadcast of a class we did back in the fall with Tamara Kelly of Moogly Blog. So if you love paper crafting, you're here today. If you're interested in crochet as well, this is a experienced beginner class. So that is taking place on Tuesday, February 7th at 11 a.m. Central. And you can sign up at favecrafts.eventbrite.com. And then thank you so much to the magazines that Fave Crafts is out of Prime Publishing, and Prime Publishing also publishes digital magazines. So as a thank you for attending any and all of our virtual events, we like to offer an introductory price. If you are interested in crochet, knitting, or sewing, you can get access to these virtual magazines for just $5 for the annual subscription. The magazines all published 6 times a year. They're ads free, and they're all tech edited, the patterns, so you know you're getting a high quality product. It also, when you sign up, because these are digital magazines, you get access to all of the previously published patterns. So for example, I Like Crochet has been around since 2014, so that's hundreds and hundreds of previously published patterns you get access to when you subscribe for an annual subscription. I will be dropping those sign up codes in the chat. But they're all welikesewing.com/virtual23. I like crochet/virtual23. So feel free to check those out if you're interested in crafts beyond Cricut. All right, I'm going to stop my screen share and we'll return to the second half of our Cricut class.
All right, and I am on my next mat here. And so this one's going to score and then cut. So I'm going to click go again. For some reason, my machine is not, it keeps losing connection. So maybe I have too many things. I was trying to, maybe there's too many things going at the same time. All right, let's try. Okay. Mistake number one on live. I had 2 sheets of cardstock and I think it was slipping in the machine. Got it. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna try this again. I'm gonna cancel. Okay, we are going to try all that over again with 1 piece of cardstock this time. I'm going to make sure it's down on my mat. Well, okay, now I have a pretty score line on a random piece of cardstock because it was okay. Trying again. I'm going to load this. And we're going to cut. Okay, let's see if it works. I don't know if I've ever used the stylus with this machine. I might have made a mistake by picking this one. Okay. It apparently is popping out. Okay, let's, I am going to do a magic machine swap so I don't have to do. Okay, so we're going to change to my Cricut Explorer because it's handy and I've used the scoring stylus with it before. Okay. So if you have another intermission, Dana, that's the time.
Not off the top of my head.
Was there any questions?
There are. Some of them are pretty technical. So
okay.
Yeah. So well, one of them, we'll start here. Angela's wondering how to center the score line. She's having trouble.
Make sure the score line and the box are picked like at the same time. Be sure they're both picked, and then do align and center.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Susie said when it comes to selecting in Design Space which Cricut, she said her Explore Air 2 is not on the list.
For Explore Air 2, hopefully you can hear me. Oh, there we go. For Explore Air 2, pick Explore Family.
Perfect. Let's see. One attendee was asking, where is the duplicate button?
Top right, and it looks like kind of 2 pieces of paper.
And overlapping each other?
Yes.
Or next to each other? Okay.
Yes, kind of overlapping each other. If you hover over it, you can see that it is in fact the duplicate.
Okay.
Okay, new machine. Are we crossing our fingers? Sure, I just use this one.
Question from Virginia. She's got the app for her iPhone or Android. She's got the app and she's having trouble getting it to connect to her Cricut Maker 3.
So hopefully you can hear me, but instead of using the app itself to connect, go to your settings and then Bluetooth.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that sounds right. Because it says it doesn't connect. So perfect.
Yes. So go to just on your iPhone, go to settings and then Bluetooth. So if you'll notice on that one, it finally worked. It did the scoring first and then cut, which is what it was supposed to do. Did not have time to troubleshoot the other one. So I did want to do really quickly with paper, when you're removing it from the mat, flip your mat over and peel your mat back. And having two mats is nice. If you notice, like I had another mat, it makes everything a little bit quicker. But if you peel back the mat from the material, your material won't like curl up, and no one likes curled paper. So I'm just going to remove like all these first cuts, and then we have two more mats to cut and we're ready to assemble some cards. So yeah, if more questions, keep them coming.
What if folks are getting a machine communication error when they're trying to connect?
If you get that, usually what I do is restart the Cricut. You might unplug it and plug it back in, and then try again. And most likely that is on iPhone is what, like, I'm assuming. If it is, then again, like do it with the settings and Bluetooth. Don't go through the Cricut app.
Let's see. Jackie is saying, shouldn't the mat be under the guides? Or it should be under, let me see. Oh, she said she didn't know that the mat was supposed to be under the guides when she first started with the Cricut, and she ruined a mat and almost ruined the machine.
Got it. Yeah. So these, you can see the mat on this one, these white guides. It should be under it on both sides when you're like, and you do want to put a little pressure on it as you're hitting that arrow button that first time.
Awesome.
And
Thank you.
And I'm putting the pin in for this one, just the same as I put that scoring stylus in. And the Design Space stopped and told me to put the pin in. So that's why I know. And then I just press the flashing light again. It flashes for you to let it know I'm done. I have the pin in and it'll start drawing.
Hey, Fran was asking, do you like the scoring wheel blade?
So the scoring wheel is for Maker 3. And then there's a scoring stylus, and you can use the stylus with the Maker and Maker 3. The benefit of the wheel to me is if you're using a lot of like foiled paper, because it has a double scoring wheel. So if you've ever scored paper and folded it, regardless if you've done it manually, you might have seen some paper can crack. So the paper itself like gets a cracked appearance. And if you do a double score line, it eliminates that cracking most of the time with most papers. So I only pull out my scoring wheel if I have something like a metallic paper or something like that. Otherwise, I feel like the scoring stylus is easiest because, like you saw, I could put it in one of my clamps, put the blade in the other, and the machine just does its thing. If it's just a score and cut, as long as I don't have like writing like they do here. So the machine doesn't stop if the stylus is in. So I don't like to change out blades. So I use the stylus most often, unless I'm using a specialty paper.
Great, thank you. Paint is your favorite. Which Cricut machine is your favorite, Angie?
Oh, which Cricut machine is my favorite? That's like picking between my kids. Let's see. Okay, so I'll say that if I'm just making simple projects like this, paper, vinyl, HTV, then the Explore series is fine to me. And I like the Explore 3 the best because of the print and cut sensor. If I want to get more in depth and go into like wood, what have you, then I have to have the Maker. And the Maker is by far my favorite for fabric. So if I wanted just one machine and I wanted to do fabric and all those projects, I would pick a Maker. And I don't see a ton of benefit of upgrading to the Maker 3 unless you're going to do like really large, long projects. I feel like the Maker itself is fine. So probably Maker and Explore 3 are my two like babies that I always turn to.
Wonderful.
And I have one more cut to make here, and then we can assemble some cards and I guess take some more questions.
We're having some connectivity questions some more. So Virginia said she did the Bluetooth and it still doesn't connect. She turned off the machine, it still doesn't connect. Any tips and tricks to make it connect to the phone and tablet?
The next thing I would probably do is restart your device, first of all, and then I would make sure. So recently, Cricut released a new update to the app. And when I pulled that up on my iPad does not have the latest like iOS software. And it did pop up and it told me I might have issues if, and I just scored with my pen. It popped up and told me I might have issues if I didn't update my operating system. And I ignored it and it's been fine, but that could be the issue. So I would probably make sure, like, restart your device, try it again, but make sure everything's up to date. Is the app up to date? Do you have the latest iOS? And make sure all that's up to date would be my next step.
Great, thank you. Two more questions just came in. So Pat says she can't get the score line to attach to the card.
The only thing would be if you weren't picking it. So the easiest way to pick multiple things is to draw a box around both of them. So that would be, try again, drawing a box around both of the things. So you want to be sure to draw a box, be sure that the score and the box both get picked before you click attach. Maybe that's the problem.
Thank you. And then Linda's asking, how do you change where the paper cuts? Will it always start to cut in the top left corner?
It will always start in the top left, but I can, if you want to switch really quick to my screen share camera here, and I will share again.
I think the screen share camera should take over.
Okay.
On its own. Yep, here we go.
There we go. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna wait again until it actually connects. Okay. So let's say that I didn't want this square in the top left. You just click it, hold down, and move it around. And then if I'm on the screen and I changed my mind, I don't like this out of red, I want it out of pink, I can click these three buttons, move object, and I can move it to the pink mat instead. Click confirm. And now if I go over here on the pink mat, there's that square. You can move it around. There's actually probably not room for it. We could rotate it and there would be room. So you can rotate things with the rotate button. Just click the rotate, rotate around, move it wherever you want it. So it's a good way to use up That's how I use up scraps, is to move them around. And I can stop again here. Yeah. And we could probably go like face down camera and I'll assemble these maybe. But that's a good way to like save on scraps, to like use your scraps up, move it around to where the scraps are. And then I do this a lot. I'll show you this. I have a stack of paper here, but I do this a lot. So I cut these hearts and these are at the top up here. And I just put this paper back in my stack because I'll just cut from this area. So I do this a lot. So I'll cut on one side and then later on, I'll just move my object over and cut on another side. So I do that a ton. All right. So I have all my pieces cut and now we're gonna like assemble some cards. Let's do all these pieces here. All right, so the first one was this guy here. And he was just a card, had some hearts cut out. And there's a score line down the center. So I can kind of tell where I should fold it. It does make folding easier. It's by no means perfect, but so I still kind of line it up, but it does help me get it in the right location. So now you can just fold that card. And so now, like I was saying, if I was to write on the inside of this card here, you could see through because those hearts were attached to the square. But I cut my little square of paper and I can put it inside and I have a cute Valentine's Day card. So I'm just gonna go to the inside of this card and I'm gonna use some kind of blue dot. Doesn't your favorite adhesive is fine. I like tape runners. I don't know why, but I really like tape runners. Okay, so I'm just gonna put little tape all around, then just kind of line up that little inside piece, glue it into place, and Valentine's Day card in minutes. So that was the first one. And then the second one we did was this guy. And so what I did, learn from my mistake. I was not paying attention. I was talking at the same time. I did not change out the pen for the score line. So my score line is actually a drawn line, but I'm going to run with it. I need a bigger reminder. Cricut Design Space to remind you, but I was not paying attention. And it did not cut too great around the bottom down here. So when it does that, and I don't want to like waste the paper here, just take my mat. And this is the back. And I'm just gonna kind of go over the back with like a craft knife and then just go over the front. So if you get like that, where it looks like the paper is going to kind of peel off, I just kind of like to cut it. And the letters look like they came out fine. So in this case, I'm going to take this guy and we're going to put this behind it. We have these O's and the center, of course, cut out. So we can handle that a couple of different ways. I can either leave it like this, so it would look like this once I get the U out, or I can take the centers of these and I can glue them on. So you can do it either way. It just depends on the font and how much I like it once I'm assembling it, whether or not I'm going to add those back or not. So I'm just going to kind of get this U out. And then I'm just going to look at it. Like, do I like it with the O's out? Yes or no? Do I like it better with the O's in? So I just kind of make a decision and I kind of like it with them out. So I'm going to leave them out. And I'm going to fold along the draw line that was supposed to be a score line. That's okay. And now it is harder to fold, but we're going to get it. Okay. And then I'm going to glue it to the back of the front again. And add that on. Another Valentine's Day card. And then this last one, I did the writing, did it on the inside. So I'm going to fold that in half. And this time the front's plain. Then you open it up. You have the writing. I could sign my name. And then we can decorate this front. So I cut some more hearts, right? You saw me cut those. I also cut these hearts out of this, and they're just scrap. I could use my scrap letters from the I love you card. Like we could use all these little scrap pieces laying around my table and just kind of decorate the front of this. So I would just kind of place them around with a little glue. And we have another Valentine's Day card from kind of the scraps of the other ones, plus a few extra pieces. And for this one, we did the writing on the inside. So I would just kind of continue to grab, and I don't even know where the rest of my hearts are, but grab the rest of my hearts, add them to that. And I think that's it. If you want to go to front facing camera, Dana, and answer any remaining questions.
Somebody said, oh, what if I wanted to write inside the pink heart card?
You can't. So when we had this flat, right, and we had it kind of look like this on the screen. What you would do is make sure that you had this surface. Actually, let me just share on the screen. Okay, I'm going to share my screen really quickly here. And move, zoom, cancel. Okay. So the way we designed it, it looked like this, and this is the back. So what you could do, there's a flip option, and we can flip horizontally. And now we are seeing the inside of the card. And now I could do the same little sentiment. I'm going to duplicate it and add it to the front of the inside of this one and pick everything, attach once again. And now it would score, cut, write, and you would put this insert on the inside.
Awesome. All right. Oh, and then Christina was just asking, what were the size of the inserted layers?
I think she's talking about these. So I did 4x6 cards, whatever size card you want. And I just took the dimensions and took about 1/4 inch off total from both the length and the width. So I made this 5.75 and this 3.75 for the 4x6 card. And those are all in inches. Sorry, international people.
Thank you so much, Angie. Thank you very much for teaching today's class. We so appreciate it. I am going to just pull up the final slide of our slideshow. If you guys aren't already following Angie on all of her social media, her handle is Angie Holden Makes, or Angie Holden on YouTube. You can also visit her at the countrychiccottage.net. If you have questions about Favecraft Studio Live, our classes in general, about the recording, etc., you can contact me at dneald@primecp.com. And if you haven't already gotten your copy of the Complete Cricut Machine Handbook, you can visit cricuthandbook.com to go get your copy, digital or print. All right, wonderful. Thank you again so much, Angie, for being with us today. And I hope everyone enjoyed the class. And until next time, have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye-bye.